I'm Harrison Graham. Bears mandatory minicamp is here as we will have full media access Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday out at Hallis Hall. I'm going to dive into the top storylines heading into mandatory minicamp, things I'm keeping an eye on this week. If you want full coverage all week long, if you want daily videos throughout the offseason, hit that subscribe button. We are closing in on 124,000 subscribers here on Bears Now by Chat Sports. If you want to help us get there, if you are a diehard Bears fan and have yet to subscribe, be sure to do so. It's 100% free. Okay, let's get to some minicamp storylines. I think the thing I'm most intrigued about, I mean, obviously we all want to hear about Caleb and everything, and we'll get to that, but the left tackle position, how do the reps stack up? Who gets the first crack at it on Thursday? Who gets more reps overall throughout the three practices? Obviously, Braxton Jones is injured, but I still think it's safe to say this is a three-man competition once training camp gets here. But who has the leg up out of Ozzy Trapilo and Kiran Amegadjie after this week? And I'll say this, if Trapilo already surpasses Amegadjie heading into training camp, it does kind of leave a question about what Amegadjie's future looks like. Do you keep him at tackle and keep developing him there? Do you try him at guard? Do you kind of try him at multiple spots? I mean, I would probably mix and match and try to create as much value for him as possible. Can he just be kind of like a Matt Pryor type where he could be a backup tackle and guard? Who knows? But we outlined on a video over the weekend, I think the Bears would like Ozzy Trapilo to emerge here, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But we've seen both guys get reps with the ones. Amegadjie during the first week of OTAs in the practice open to the media, he was working with the ones. And the second week, it was Trapilo. Is there a lot to read into that? Ben Johnson says they're moving guys around right now, but they can't really be that stealthy this week because unlike OTAs, the media will be at all three practices this week. So even though jobs aren't being won this time of year, like Ben Johnson said, we can at least kind of get an indication of where things sit before the boys break off for about 6 weeks before training camp. And listen, that left tackle spot is the only question. We know who the left guard is going to be. It's Joe Thuney. We know Drew Dahlman's the center. We know Jonah Jackson's the right guard. And we know Darnell Wright's the right tackle, barring an emergency, and they have to kick him to left tackle. So who is going to be that left tackle? I think it's Braxton Jones' job until someone takes it. But, a strong week from one of Trapilo or Amegadjie this week could kind of be that start to taking that job from Braxton Jones. Okay, number 2. Is Caleb Williams progressing? I'm not going to overreact too harshly this week to Caleb one way or the other because you're still in the install phase here. You're still, designing plays for this offense, practicing those, the verbiage of these plays, like just kind of the basics, like that's still ongoing here. So I'm going to try not to overreact one way or the other. Sound like it was a mixed bag at OTAs, which is what to be expected. But 3 straight practices, right? Again, you get a clearer picture here of where things stand for players and for units. Are 2 out of the 3 days good? Are all 3 good? Are all 3 bad? Like, I just think we'll have a better indication of how far along he is in this offense. Again, he could light it up this week. I'm not going to declare him the MVP of the league. He could look terrible. I'm not going to freak out and act like he can't play and isn't going to figure this thing out. But it would be nice to build some momentum here heading into the summer before they come back for training camp. Now, there's one more session of OTAs next week, but these 3 days are really the most important days before training camp. So let's see if we hear some positive reporting coming out of Hallis Hall this week that Caleb, the offense, things are clicking. Hopefully that happens. Speaking of the quarterback, speaking of Caleb Williams, if you want to get his jersey for just $100, this Navy one right here, you could do so. Chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. You can click that link in the comments and description of this video, chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. Check it out today. Represent QB1 for only $100. What is the running back pecking order, especially after DeAndre Swift? Like, we all know Swift is the starter based on who they have, but is it Roschon Johnson? Is he the next man up? Does Kyle Monangai take a step forward and kind of enter that conversation? Is Ian Wheeler out there? I don't know if he is. I think he's still rehabbing that ACL. But really, Roshan and Manungai are who I'm keeping an eye on. Now, in the drills, the clips we've seen from OTAs, the order has been Swift 1, Roshan 2, Homer 3, Manungai 4, then Hankins, the UDFA 5. Wheeler hasn't been out there. I don't know if that's just coincidence or if that's the pecking order right now, but it does sound like Roshan is in a good position. Albert Breer reported that he believes, based on what he's heard, that Roshan is going to get a good opportunity here to kind of rebuild his stock this season. Ryan Poles has kind of thrown out there he didn't think Roshan was properly used last year in that offense. So I think they're still trying to squeeze something out of him this year and moving forward. So sounds like it'll be his spot to lose, is that number 2 punch and the 1-2 punch with DeAndre Swift, but that remains to be seen. All right, the Sam linebacker competition, that LB3 role after Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, is rookie 4th-round pick Ruben Hippolyte, the guy to take that job. Noah Sewell, there's been some positive reports out of him. Sounds like his body has transformed a little bit. He's a little leaner, more ripped. He's been a little bulkier the last couple of years, so we know they're looking for speed at that position. Dennis Allen, if you watch 1920 Football Drive, raved about Hippolyte's speed. I think kind of like the Trapilo situation, they would like Hippolyte to take the job because they just drafted this guy. They're high on his athletic profile. Again, you get the 4-year rookie contract window where you could get cheap labor at that linebacker spot. Now, we'll see what the reps look like this week as well, because TJ Edwards was dealing with the soft tissue injury last week. Unclear if he'll be out there this week, but that Sam linebacker position is probably, if you consider that a starting role, which it really isn't because they play in nickel, but 12th defensive starter, if you will. It's probably the realest, other than left tackle on offense, like competition on the team. Like, we know who the 2 starting safeties are. We know who at least the top 2 receivers are. We know who the top 2 tight ends are. We know who left guard through right tackle is. We know kind of what the defensive line rotation looks like, although defensive tackle could get wonky. But that 3rd linebacker job is very much up for grabs. Is it Hippolyte? Could it be Ahmed Agbagbamiga? Is it a free agent? I think that's still in the cards potentially if no one kind of runs away with this thing between now and training camp. So definitely keeping an eye on that. And then something that, I didn't really think would be on my radar, but it sounds like it's a real thing, is this backup quarterback competition. I think it's real. I think, it's at least a small piece of why Case Keenum considered coming here. Although I think the big reason was just, him and Ben Johnson had a good conversation. He's been in this role in Houston the last couple of years, mentoring C.J. Stroud. But it sounds like, by all accounts, Keenum looked better than Bagent at OTAs. Now, that shouldn't be that surprising. Case Keenum's been in this league a long time. I would trust him to pick up a new offense better than Tyson Bagent and, quite frankly, Caleb Williams. So I'm not shocked that reports out of OTAs are, Case Keenum looks pretty good out there. Yeah, he's played like 15 years. he kind of knows what this looks like, what to do. He's been in a lot of different systems. So I'm not surprised by that, especially in T-shirts and shorts. But, I think this is a real thing. I don't think Bagent's just going to be given the job. Now, do I think Tyson's going to be the backup? Probably, but this matters because if Caleb Williams were to go down, if Case Keenum outplays Tyson Bagent, then he would get the first crack at stepping into the game. Both guys are going to make the 53, barring something surprising, but I do think this is a real backup QB competition, and I got no problem with that. Like, I like Tyson Bagent, but, should we just give him the backup QB job like they did last year? Probably not. Okay, what is the number one thing that you want to see, that you're watching for at Bears Minicamp, that you want me to talk about? Let me know in the comment section below, because we'll have full coverage all week long, reacting to everything we're seeing, we're hearing from Halas Hall, as it should be a competitive 3 days out there. We'll start with our coverage on Tuesday all the way through Thursday and even on into Friday. So be sure to stay tuned for that. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down.